Just an easy game. Grab a partner.
Like running laps.
I'm doing two. Hi, I'm Dr. Doug Graham. I'm the author of the 80-10-10 Diet, Nutrition and Athletic Performance, Prevention and Care of Athletic Injuries, and a series of other books on health and high-level performance. I'm trained as a chiropractic physician and have been for the last 35 years practicing at teaching people how to be better at the things that interest them. So if you're an artist, be a better artist. If you're an athlete, be a better athlete. If you're a teacher, be a better teacher, by learning to live healthfully and become a more healthy individual. It's my belief that healthy people will outperform their less healthy but equally talented counterparts every single time. I believe that health is the most beautiful thing there is and the easiest way to be. If you want to try something really hard, try being sick. So I get a great joy out of eating a species-specific diet that is comprised primarily around fruits and vegetables. I teach people about the low-fat, raw vegan diet using 6 adjectives: whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. I believe that a diet revolving around those foods, whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants, will do the most benefit while doing the least harm. And it's good for the planet, it's good for the environment, it's good for us, and I think from what I've seen so far in terms of athletic performance, in terms of intelligence, in terms of heart, and in terms of any other aspect of human performance, we are at our best eating fruits and vegetables. 80-10-10 is a very simple concept, and the 80-10-10 diet explains it essentially as this. We're looking for 3 nutrients, protein, fat, and carbohydrate, to be in a ratio where carbohydrates predominate heavily, that more than 80% of our total calorie intake comes from carbohydrates, with less than 10% coming from protein, less than 10% coming from fat, as an average over a week or a month or a year. When we look at our average diet, we're not looking bite for bite, or even always meal for meal, but over a period of time, maybe days or weeks, to say, look, over this period of time, most of my calories are coming from carbohydrates and I keep the fat down lower. This is done for a variety of reasons. Primarily, for me, 2 scientific reasons that result in things that we can feel. And these are both uptake, transport, and delivery. The uptake, transport, and delivery of oxygen, and the uptake, transport, and delivery of carbohydrate into our bloodstream, through our bloodstream, and out of our bloodstream to the cells. The uptake, transport, and delivery of oxygen and carbohydrate is impaired as fat in the diet goes up, and is enhanced as fat in the diet goes down. Without enough oxygen going to your cells, you open yourself up for cancer growths, you're tired, you're not thinking clearly, muscle contractions don't happen as fully as they should. Without sufficient glucose getting into your cells, then function goes down dramatically. So, at the same time, when there's insufficient glucose getting to the cells, you start to experience cravings. So, by eating more fruits and vegetables, you actually can eliminate the basic 5 food cravings, which are for sweets at the end of the meal, sweets in between meals, complex carbohydrate foods like bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, and corn, at any time, or looking around for something really heavy at the end of the meal. Any of those four give us a strong indication that we haven't eaten enough fruit lately to satisfy our carbohydrate needs or our desires for sweets. While if you crave salt or salty foods, it's a surefire telltale that you haven't been eating enough vegetables. We've all heard that we're supposed to eat our vegetables, but it's actually not something that we're just supposed to tell others. It's something we're supposed to embrace. Vegetables are wonderful food. I recommend that we eat them on a daily or certainly near daily basis. I encourage people to eat in volume about as much vegetable volume as they eat fruit volume. This balance works out pretty well for most people. If you try to eat too much vegetables, well, then you won't get the calories from fruit that you require, and you'll be forced to reach for higher fatty, more concentrated foods. I mean, I could spend a long time talking about 80-10-10. I get pretty excited talking about 80-10-10, and to stay really focused for me is one of the things that I found that 80-10-10 makes so very possible. If you eat sufficient vegetables so that you don't crave salty foods, and sufficient fruits so that you're never experiencing carbohydrate or sweets cravings, then you're probably on a pretty good track. If you're not eating enough calories, and so you start finding yourself losing weight, uncontrollably losing weight, well, you just need to eat more. It's pretty straightforward. It's almost impossible to eat too much on a raw food diet, and certainly on a diet that's predominated by fruit, because fruit is so satiating. It's sweet and it leaves you feeling happy. I find it a fascinating thing that virtually all of the requirements for health, whether it's fresh air or sunshine or emotional poise or going to the bathroom or whatever they are, virtually all of the essential requirements for health and development of our species, personally and as a group, they're all things that are pleasurable for us. They're supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel good to take a deep breath of air. It's supposed to feel good to eat a nice meal. And I don't see eating food that you love, but it harms you in return, really as a plan. For me, I want food that loves me as much as I love it. I want food that's going to leave me feeling good and help me reach my goals. And I know that for my goals, in order to get there, I've got to be healthy. That's where my productivity lies, is in being healthy. My introduction to 80-10-10 came extremely slowly. I was raised on a standard Western diet, but in a fairly aware family. We ate what we thought was more healthfully than, or we had a higher health conscious perhaps, than our neighbors. Not as many sweets, not as many pastries, no sodas, a lot of fruits and vegetables, but all of the standard fare. At 16, I had an experience. I was on the beach one spring day. It was really rather early in the beach season in New Jersey, but I was on the beach and just looking out over the water. And I didn't have, I don't even know, I don't want to call it a spiritual experience, but a voice came out of the sky and the message was health. That was the only word, just health. I tried to turn away from it. I tried to pretend I wasn't hearing this message, but it was really, really strong, and it was very alluring, and it came from up above down to me on the beach. It was a little spooky, to be honest, but the message of health. And I started pursuing health. I was a health and fitness major going through physical education school and college. I paid attention to health. I took all the nutrition courses offered. and continued down that line. I started going to look for where was health available, and I went to health food stores and started reading all the books from old-time health experts, and bit by bit, gradually, ever so gradually, I went through a macrobiotic phase, and then a vegetarian phase, and then a vegan phase, and then a high-fat raw phase, and then eventually came around to realize, like, I felt my absolute very best when I was eating all the fruit I wanted and all the vegetables I cared for. To me, that was the goal, was to feel really good. So if I feel my best on those foods, then those are the foods I'd eat. And I don't know, that might be simplistic, but to me, I am very much a consequences-oriented kind of guy. I like to focus on the outcome. I want to know what the outcome's going to be. And so for me, I knew when I ate fruits and vegetables, the outcome was that I slept well, I had a lot of energy, my mind was crystal clear like I've never known it to be. I didn't seem to get sore from fitness training. Everything came easily. I was in better spirits. I was learning things more rapidly. I'd struggled with learning languages, and all of a sudden I could learn languages better and remember things better. There just didn't seem to be a downside at all, so I just kept eating fruits and vegetables ever since. And now it's, you know, it's 35 years ago, and it just hasn't been really looked back at all. I'm not looking back, I'm looking forward. I've worked with a lot of elite athletes. It's a pleasure. It's almost always a shock every time that these guys and gals are as talented as they are. It's very hard to tell how talented they are by watching them on TV. You can't compare to yourself, because if it's a game with offense and defense, you really can't tell how good the offense is, because the defense is just as good, and they're good at making the offense look bad. They're really talented individuals, and at this point in most careers, people are learning that they all have access to the same equipment, they all have access to the same coaching, they all have access to basically all the secrets, and the only way that they're going to progress above and beyond their competition is by paying attention to their lifestyle, whether that's food or enough sleep or fresh air and all the other aspects of lifestyle monitoring, even down to psychology and philosophy of performance. And that the better prepared they are and the more responsibility they take for themselves and caring for their body, the better it's going to perform for them. So it's been a real treat to work with people from a lot of different sports and to help them perform even better than they ever have. I mean, I'm very much an optimistic person, but I see good things in the future as more people adopt the 80-10-10 diet, more people start eating more fruits and vegetables. I see good things happening. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, you're going to put people out of business, and that's not really where the focus is. You're also going to be putting people into business. New businesses will spring up. I think more new businesses will spring up than the old ones that went out of business. Just like the computer has generated more business than the slide rule industry that it replaced, and some of the other industries that it may have made redundant. I see for sure the health industry changing. Maybe the health industry will stay intact, but they'll start specializing more in lifestyle management and less in procedures and surgeries and drugs and medication. I'm not really trying to choreograph that in the sense of let's eliminate this group or let's eliminate that group. Really, I want to focus on what I'm in favor of, which is encouraging people to eat more fruits and vegetables. But obviously, if people eat enough fruits and vegetables, well, the dairy industry will become a thing of the past. But it'll be replaced by something else. I don't know what, the banana industry, or the almond industry or something will grow enough to take up the slack. I mean, people are going to eat no matter what. We're going to get far more efficient at delivering fruits and vegetables to the marketplace. The more people that eat fruits and vegetables, the better the supply is going to be, the better the quality is going to be, the lower the price is going to be. And I mean, things will change. Certainly lots of stores have already changed over the years based on what they carry. I mean, I look forward to going into the 20-aisle grocery store that has 19 aisles of fruits and vegetables and maybe an aisle of toilet paper, but you can go down the banana aisle and you go down the mango aisle and there'll be 27 different aisles or 27 different varieties of mango to choose from, and they're all the best of the best. And then you go into the apple aisle and there's 40 varieties of apples, and there'll be a tropical fruit aisle, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see that many people. In fact, it's sort of one day in my grocery store at my hometown, one of the guys that works in the store said, you're our best customer. And in a way, I'm honored to be the store's best customer in the produce aisle. But in a way, I thought it was very, very sad. I mean, I'm just buying for my wife and myself at the time, and how could I be their best customer? There was family shopping there with 8, 10, 12 people in the family, 2, 3, 4, 5 adults sometimes. And how could we be their biggest buyer of fruits and vegetables when I'm only using that store for some of my produce? I shopped at 3 or 4 other stores as well. So I see that change coming as more people buy more produce. Obviously, we'll get better at producing produce, we'll improve our delivery, the quality of the produce will go up, and I think a healthier population is good because it means productivity goes up. I mean, currently now the average American's missing 18 days of work per year due to sickness. That's a lot of lost productivity, and a lot of people are at work even while they're sick. So I think that as we can raise our productivity, we raise our vitality, we become a more peaceful nation eating fruits and vegetables. There's not a war going on inside of us just from the food we ate. I think all good things are on our way. The Woodstock Fruit Festival is a bit of a dream come true. It's a flight of fancy that we all embrace. It's the happy times that everybody wants to share. It's the home of the beautiful people. Sure, you see a lot of nice physiques, men and women, but you meet some fantastic people. You meet the most beautiful hearts, and people are very, very open here. The management of the Woodstock Fruit Festival, the vision of Mike Arnstein to present and create his vision for us and then let us share in it. I mean, the man has a beautiful heart, and he's got just tremendous vision. He sees things really big. I wouldn't ever want to miss the Woodstock Fruit Festival. I hope they invite me back for a long, long time to come, because it's as happy a place as there could ever be. It's serious business. There's a polarity happening in the health movement. The people who are taking poor care of themselves are taking worse care than ever. I mean, they're deep frying Coca-Cola. It's getting pretty bad. We're doing elective surgeries to prevent diseases that we might get. It's It's a little scary to me. But the people who are taking good care of themselves are taking better care of themselves than ever, and this is really something I'm enthusiastic about. I think taking good care of ourselves is an essential, and I'm watching that segment of the population grow dramatically. Those who are taking really good care of themselves, this segment of the population is growing quickly. How quickly will it take to, be an overnight success? I don't know. I have no predictions as far as how long it's going to take, but I am knowing that 5 years ago there was one 80-10-10 festival in the world. 2 years ago there were 2. Last year there were 3. This year there were 8. Next year there's at least 10 on tap, and there may well be 12 or more. I'm imagining by 2015 we'll break the 20, and the 80-10-10 program and all the healthful living that's coming along with it is growing dramatically around the world. I mean, when we tap into India and China, watch out. That's going to be a lot of people finding out. But I think the consciousness overall is really what's changing quickly. Raw foods in general is becoming a much more common concept. It's not freaking people out like it used to. People used to really think like you were some kind of a nut. But now, if I fly in an airplane and the waitress, or I'm sorry, the flight attendant sees me eating, they almost invariably ask me about raw food. And they want to sit down and talk to me for a while about raw food. I was doing an interview recently, and one of the media guys was interviewing me for a newspaper over in Europe, and he said, when people say raw food, do they really just mean 80-10-10? And I was tempted to say yes, but I had to say to him, not yet. It's really the direction we're going. We're seeing the high fruit, low fat, 100% raw, 100% of the time concept really taking hold, and I see it catching on in a very big way in future. I was in school when a questionnaire came around asking us to list the recreational drugs we'd taken. And I had actually tried 1 or 2, but not much. I was a pretty timid guy, but I was with a friend of mine at the time, and I was filling out his form for him as well. He was an artist and he was busy on some project, so I just asked him. He says, "Oh, you know me well enough." And it got to the question about list the recreational drugs you've taken. And he thought for a minute and he said, "Put down everything except psilocybin." I don't know if there's any conditions that I haven't seen improve on 80-10-10. I can't think of any that I could say, well, if you've got this, you're probably not going to see improvement. Or if you've got this, 80-10-10 is not for you. Healthful living has no contraindications. Everything vectors towards health when you improve your lifestyle as much as it can, based on your vitality and your genetics and how far progressed things have gone. But your body is always trying to generate health and will always improve based on the conditions that you supply. So, I've seen people overcome cancer, I've seen people overcome heart disease, I've seen people overcome diabetes. It's fairly common, arthritis and aches and pains and chronic fatigue. It's just really been an endless list of asthma and allergies and high cholesterol and blocked arteries and kidney dysfunction. It hasn't seemed to matter what it is. Bipolar disorder. Practically anything you could name. And especially this week, I'm here Woodstock Fruit Festival, and 600 people are coming up to me telling me about all the things that have gotten better since they started eating fruits and vegetables. I really can't think of anything to put on the list that I wouldn't expect it to improve. I mean, people get more beautiful. I guess maybe if you're short, you might not get taller on 80-10-10. If you ever want to know more about my books or tapes or videos and audios, the programs I run, seminars, private coaching, or any of the lifestyle management courses that I teach, you can find me at foodandsport.com. It's the word food, the letter N, and the word sport. It's 10 letters, foodandsport.com. If you want to read the 80-10-10 diet book, which I highly recommend, it's available on my website. You can get it at amazon.com. You can even just go to your public library and request it and read it for free. And I'd just love it if every library in the country carried 80-10-10, but the book has been approved for them to carry. You can just go in and ask them to get it for you, and they'll put a free copy available for everybody to read. So you can, it's not that it's a huge investment. I'm not asking anybody to spend a penny. I'm just asking them to read a book and then think for themselves, do you want to be healthy or not? How healthy do you want to be? Go to health, everybody.